What's up everybody, coming at you live with a brand new fusion for the month of June. There's a new champion that you're going to be getting quite easily, in fact, as a free player, and today we're going to be reacting live to what the kit is going to be like, right? First and foremost, he's a dwarf and he does look pretty damn menacing, right? We got the post over here on Hell Hades. His name is Tholin Foulbeard. Okay, well, he does quite look like a dwarf and a big foul beard is hanging, so let's get into it. Before we do go any further, please go ahead and check out Aptoide if you haven't done so yet. It's gonna be allowing yourself to get massive bonuses whenever doing any purchase in-game. You're gonna be getting an extra cashback of 10% all the way up to extra 35%, which you can eventually use to do the purchases for you instead of actually using your real money. It's pretty good value. We'll cover it more in depth at the end of the video. For now, let's keep on going. So let's go. It is a traditional fusion, as it is said over here, meaning that you're gonna be needing to collect epic and rare champions before fusing the new legendary dwarf. Who those champions are going to be, I don't really know. I don't think it's explained over here. We do have the champion guide, which we will also be checking out, but that is going to be a little bit more in-depth on his kit. First and foremost, let's get into what he does, right? So, if you want to join my team in Raid Shadow Legends, click the link in the description to get a free Narma as well as Anax, Uugo, and Mausoleum Mage as you progress through the game. Here's what you need to do. First of all, log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Then click the link in the description and register a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial, and then go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get a fresh start in Raid with a free Narma and 3 epic champs. Click on my link right now. It's gonna be coming on June 5th, and it's going to be the brand new champion Tholin Foulbeard, who is a legendary dwarf from the attack category or type and of the force affinity, right? Now, what does it say over here? He's a versatile damage dealer, well suited for both PvE and PvP. He's also a top tier choice against Kurosa the Covetous, who is going to be the brand new event dungeon boss, which will also be coming, I'm assuming, throughout the month of June, maybe in the same day. We do have this post made by Hell Hades himself, so actually this is official, because this is the Plarium announcement. So we do have some idea of when the new dungeon will be coming, but I think there's no official information just yet. It's going to be a little bit more visual, and also a little bit more just right from the source, right? So this is really what it is in-game, pretty much. This is what the skills are going to be looking like, right? So this is his icon, of course, and then we go. The A1 is attack all enemies before attacking. It has a 25% of placing, a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns. We can increase that chance all the way up to 50%, right? So not bad, not bad. He also has a 50% chance of placing that 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns if the target is from the Corrupted Alliance. I'm assuming that is like the new faction for the event dungeon, because I've never heard of the Corrupted Alliance, a boss or a minion, right? So yes, if it takes place in the new dungeon. This effect cannot be resisted by enemies from the Corrupted Alliance, bosses or minions. Okay, so it's like, instead of a 25% chance, it's double the chance if it's on the new dungeon thingy, and then grants an extra turn if the weaken debuff is placed on all enemies, as we already talked about, right? So it's an AoE A1 with a weaken, which is pretty great. He's an attack champion, right? So that in weaken means extra damage taken by the enemies. And we can also make this a 50% baseline if we do level the thing up. Not bad whatsoever, not bad. Okay, let's go. A2, back to the abyss, attack one enemy 2 times. Each hit will ignore 25% of the target's defense. If the target is from the Corrupted Alliance, the boss or minion, these will then be doubled. So it's 50% of the target's defense totally ignored. If you level it up, it's going to go down to, what is it, 4 turn cooldown, it's going to be a 3 turn cooldown, okay. Now, each hit decreases the target's attack by 5%, stacking up to 25%. That is great against bosses, god damn. So that is totally outside of a decreased damage debuff. So you can do that, like, it's like stacking up these twice. I'm assuming it's additive and not multiplicative, but if it is multiplicative, that is a lot of damage reduction onto the enemy. Now, each hit also increases this champion's attack by 5%, stacking up to 50%. That is quite crazy. Okay, this is like literally just like a stacking buff and a debuff, which will also ignore defense. Well, I guess this is the big heavy hitter on a decently big cooldown. Is there any other interaction? Okay, let's see. A3. Attack all enemies 2 times. Okay, another AoE. Before attacking, places a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns. For each critical hit landed on the first hit, increases damage dealt on the second hit by 10% and will ignore unkillable and shield buffs. You know what? There is quite some of unkillable and shield buffs on the new weapon dungeon. So that's kind of why they are saying that this is quite a perfect champion for this new event dungeon. If you do get it, then you're gonna be a lot better off if you're getting into the new dungeon event, which makes me think that the new dungeon event might just be coming a little bit further down the line after this event has already had its course. So maybe it's somewhere like at the end of June, maybe even July, when the new event dungeon is gonna be coming. Anyways, this is a 3-turn cooldown attack once it goes all the way up to level 4. Then finally we do have the passive, activates Demon Breaker skills every 5th turn this champion takes, which is the A1? Okay, so it's literally a free skill. Every fifth turn, he's gonna have an extra A1. Okay, enemies from the Corrupted Alliance bosses and minions cannot land a critical hit on this champion. Okay, he's of the Force Affinity, so you kind of like are immune to any sort of weak, like you're not gonna be able to be landed. I guess you can still be landed strong attacks against if you were of the wrong affinity, but you cannot get crit on. Okay, so this straight up just makes him a very boosted champion for whatever the Corrupted Alliance is, which might be a new faction, but I don't think so. It's literally probably just gonna be the new event dungeon thingy. And then he does get an extra A1 every 5th turn he takes, meaning that he's really going to be wanting quite some speed. He is quite self-reliant because he does get a lot of increased attack on himself. He does get all these buffs, you want to be stacking them up as soon as possible, and he also gets a lot of value from his A1 because he does apply that weaken, and he ignores a lot of defense from the A2. So you do want this guy to be quite speedy. Of course, you do want a lot of accuracy on him. You're going to be wanting to, of course, he's an attack champion, so 100% crit rate as well as a lot of crit damage. And then he's going to be scaling off of attack, right? So attack percentage, and that's literally it. But he's going to have quite a special value on the speed. He's not going to be needing that many other buffs to be applied onto him. He already has the increased attack on himself, and he already has the weaken on himself. So he doesn't apply the decreased defense debuff, although he does ignore the enemy's defense, right? So you would want somebody else to apply that decreased defense. But anyways, he doesn't really require to be that slow of an attack champion because he gets a lot of value of just having more and more and more turns, especially because of that passive, and especially because of the A2 with all the stacking buffs that he gets and debuffs that he applies. Well, he does sound like a very, very strong champion. Like, all in all, the opinions of this guy so far I've seen are quite high. Let's now go ahead and see what the actual champion guide is like in Hell Hades. Okay, so what is the score that Hell Hades gave it? It's a 4.5. I think it's pretty fair. I mean, he does sound like a very strong champion with a lot of very powerful buffs to himself, debuff to the enemies. He is very self-reliant, he wants to be speedy. So, what is the opinion on this guy? He's a damage dealer who can do both grow in power and weaken his enemies, thriving when facing foes from the Corrupted Alliance, bosses and their minions. His abilities to manipulate stats come from his A2, exactly what we saw, single target, double attack that ignores a lot of the enemy's defense, especially if they are from the Corrupted Alliance. Now, each hit also is going to be decreasing the target's the target's attack, so they are doing a lot less damage to you, and increasing his own by quite a lot, up to 50% when fully stacked up. It's a strong way to reduce the damage you take while boosting Tholin's output as the fight goes on, especially versus the event dungeons, and especially versus very long fights, like basically literally every endgame dungeon, so Hydra, Chimera, and Demon Lord, right? So let's not really get into all the specifics. He does get an extra turn if all allies receive the effect, meaning that weekend, so that's another way of himself getting a little bit sped up, and if he does have a lot of accuracy and applies the weaken onto everybody, he is going to be getting a lot of extra turns, although that weaken chance of being applied can never get to 100%, as we already saw, right? Because it was like 25% baseline, and then it was 50% versus the Corrupted Alliance, and you could scale it up all the way up to 50% and 75%. Anyways, you're not going to be rolling on extra attack, or rather extra turns, but he's going to be quite fine getting, I don't know, the Relentless, which gives you the extra attacks. Anyways, here are the ratings for him, at least from just like general idea of what he does. Of course, we haven't really gotten the chance to try it out, neither does Hell Hades himself, for sure. So he's pretty much just almost a 5 literally everywhere. Shogun's Grove, I don't really know the specifics of any of these, but we can see that he is definitely going to be a very powerful champion in literally any dungeon where things go on for quite long. He's able to scale up, he's able to provide that long-term value to the whole party, especially to himself, as he's going to be decreasing the enemy's attack and increasing his own attack, and he's going to be also quite ideal in arena. I don't know, that weekend is not bad whatsoever. He's going to be doing quite a lot of damage through his AoE attacks and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm thinking, straight up just thinking he's going to be great for Spider, ideally all of that AoE especially hard mode as he scales up, and any sort of endgame dungeon, as you can see, Hydra, Chimera, Demon Lord is going to be not ideal, right? He doesn't really feel like the ideal champion for these scenarios, but he's definitely a very, very good pick for literally all of these dungeons where he's going to be able to go on and build up and grow up over a matter of a bunch of turns and scale up to his full potential. He is given a book rating of 10 out of 10. You do need to be scaling up those skills for sure. They are quite strong. And then he's also talked about being put in a Nature's Wrath set, which by the way is going to be increasing his own damage done the more debuffs he applies. So the more debuffs he applies, the more damage he's going to be doing, scaling up all the way to 30%, right? I think it's like increased by 5% every debuff he's applying. So since he's applying AoE weakens, he can scale up his damage by a lot. Now, this is what the ideal gear would be, according to Hell Hades, at least. Of course, I already talked about it. You kind of want all that accuracy, you want that speed, you want the crit rate and the crit damage because he's an attack champion, and of course, scaling up the attack percentage. Not sure why he doesn't include accuracy over here. He is going to be applying those debuffs, those weekends, although the chances are not that high, but you do want them applying anyways, right? So you do want accuracy at least for sure. He does talk about putting him on a Merciless set, which, by the way, is this one right here. He's going to be getting himself a lot of extra turns out of it, right? So kind of fits the idea of the whole thing. He also does get a lot of ignore defense, but this is one of the most end game sort of sets, so getting access to this would be nuts. But if you can put him on this, I mean, that sounds just like the perfect stuff. You can also put him on Savage or Lethal, which do also ignore a lot of defense and get him some crit rate and crit damage, which is good. And then Cruel and Speed would kind of fit the same theme. I don't know, he does sound like a very aggressive champion. I do wish I can get him. We'll see what the required champions, those epics and those rares that are he talks about, right? Of course, on those kinds of fusions, you do need those kinds of champions. We'll see what those are and how easy they are to get. It's all going to be depending on that, whether or not we're able to get him reliably. And yeah. And that's it, guys. Before you go, please go ahead and check out Aptoide. Once again, you're going to be able to get massive bonuses when buying things through Aptoide Invade Shadow Legends. Just download, raid Shadow Legends through Aptoide, and once you are in there, if you want to be buying anything, you're going to be getting bonuses that can go from extra 10% of whatever you're spending all the way up to extra 35% of that much money. Now, the good thing about this is that when you do have enough of the bonus accumulated in your wallet, you're going to be able to actually use that balance, the bonuses you already got, the cashbacks, so call it, to do the purchases for you. It's another way of just getting massive accumulated bonuses. You get more value for your money and eventually be able to afford more things for the same amount of money. You can install it on Android emulators, for example, on your PC like BlueStacks, or you can also install it on your Android phone. It does not work on iPhone, unfortunately, only Android. And then straight up, if you want to be getting more bonuses, there's going to be a code somewhere up here on the screen as well as down in the description to increase that bonus by a flat 5% from the get-go for literally ever. Just put it in the Aptoide wallet and it's going to be that simple, guys. Any more questions down below in the comment section. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. See you.